you everybody for being here. I know it's a bit daunting, 10 o'clock, and the first speaker, an evangelist. What makes it worse is if you actually look me up on LinkedIn, you'd see I'm an accountant as well, so it's going to make it even worse. And then I'm talking about technology, and I'm talking about the transformative journey of procurement, and I'm going to try and lace in a bit about supply chains as well. And so when we think about procurement, and before you really kind of sink into your seats and get your mobile phones out and think, I really can't be bothered with this, look at that phone. Look at that technology that we're already using. Technology we were not using 20 years ago. There's so much technology out there, and those who are using it, they are, whether they're embracing it or reluctantly adopting it, the reality is technology is affecting us all of the time. And so we think of these phones, and we think about things like, for example, GPS. GPS has changed, in my opinion, the procurement world massively, because I know from working with my past colleagues, they spent most of their time on the road. They probably use this technology now, makes them more efficient, hopefully, as opposed to the great big books and the maps that we used to have to drive around or argue with our other half as to directions. And so technology is affecting us. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you, you have to adopt technology, because it's about the right technology that we have to adopt and embrace. And it's about, with your phones and whatever you're using, it's about having the right apps on your phone. It's not just taking something because somebody says you must. And so then when we look at procurement, and I'm not going to labor on this slide because you'll hear a lot of this and you already know this, but I appreciate that procurement has a lot on its plate, a lot more than it used to have. You used to just source or buy. Now, you've got to deal with technology and everything that's coming at us, from AI and blockchain. People talk about digital transformation, which is a great buzzword, but what does it really mean? There's so much technology coming at us, it can almost be daunting. And then we've got, if we think about the world of tech, and if we go back a couple of years ago, and just an example of where I think technology could have helped. So we probably all remember Boris's speech. Go to work, don't go to work, but if you can go to work, but don't drive to work, but go to work. If ChatGPT had been around then and drafted his speech, we might have actually known if we should go to work. You've then got the political landscape. You've got people like, Rishi, just recently, just threw that spanner in the works. Oh, by the way, the whole Green Pledge, we're changing all of that. Car manufacturers are planning ahead, and he goes and does that. That's another area where procurement are having to keep up, constantly keep reevaluating. And then you've got Twitter, or X as it's called now, where if you want to keep up with US foreign policy, that's probably the best place, and it changes all of the time. And yet, despite all of these challenges, what I see here is a room full of people who have risen to the challenge, especially over recent years. You are, and I get this, you're the unseen operators of the business world, but you ensure continuity amid chaos. And so as we stand here, kind of at the crossroads of innovation, ethics, sustainability, I'm really hoping this event is going to help us further that journey. Why? Because you guys are really important. If we think about the mathematics, and there was definitely going to be some of that in here with an accountant, if we think of a 20% margin business, For every £1 you save, that's an additional £5 in sales. So you really can make an impact. Another side of it, in the average distributor, there are between 6 and 10 salespeople for every one procurement professional. You are valuable, more valuable than you probably realize. Think of AI. People are telling me AI can negotiate and it will be able to model millions of scenarios in seconds. We'll see. But what I do know is that technology will help procurement. I mean, put it this way. Do you think you could beat AI at a game of chess? And then finally, we have a really important statistic. The value of automation. This is specifically about procurement. What it said was 74% of the things that the average procurement professional are doing could be automated. 74%. The same report went on to say that the highest performers, the people who are really, really good at what they do in the procurement trade, have managed to get that to 63%. So they've freed up their time to add more value. But then I read a completely different report. And what it said was, you could actually get to 40. You can automate 60% of what you do. I don't think anybody's there yet, but it shows you the scale of the opportunity as to available to all of us with technology, whether that's procurement, accountants, salespeople, logistics. Used the right way, the technology can make us or help us deliver a bigger impact. And so now I'm going to pivot, and now I'm going to actually focus on the technology. But before I do, I'm just going to have a little rant about technology, because one thing that I'm frustrated with personally is how complicated it always ends up. Don't know if anybody else in this room has the same experience, but why? Why do they have to make everything so complicated? Whether it's ERPs, whether it's using your CRM or your supplier portals, whatever it is, I just wish they'd stop. I wish that people could focus on simplicity. Focus on actually giving us tools that can make a difference in what we do. It's not complicated to use SatNav. You say where you want to go and off you go. It should be the same in most of the technology we're adopting. So keep that in mind, and if there's software providers in here or decision makers, just please, can we have a bit of simplicity? And so, with that rant done, complicated. I'm not sure if he's having a good time or a bad time, but that's not what we want. What we want is easier. We want to be able to improve ourselves. So we want technology that really complements what we do. We do not need a master's degree to use the technology. And I think we've all heard the phrase, any fool can make something complicated, but it takes genius to make something simple. That is kind of one of the underriding kind of things that personally I look for when I'm looking at technology, and I'm looking at whether it's processes or change. So what you don't want is to be on that list in the headlines of businesses that have sunk lots of money into a technology and you didn't get what you want. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how you avoid that. But ultimately, think of technology as tools. That's all it is. Tools used the right way are going to improve what you do. Used badly, and they're going to look like the shelves in my house. Nothing straight. My wife says I'm terrible at DIY. I disagree, but there we go. Ignore the technology at your own peril. So now, golf clubs. Anybody here play golf? I'm hoping we've got some golfers in the room. Yeah, we've got a golfer here. Perfect. I'm told that these are really, really expensive golf clubs. I don't know. I'm an amateur golfer, but I'm told they're expensive, really, really good. If I was to give you those clubs right now and take your existing set away and put you on a course, would you have a better round? Probably not. But they're better. More technology in them. It's the same with software. You adopt a piece of software and it's amazing how within a week we go, oh, I don't like it. And it's taking me longer. Anything you do, when you change, it doesn't have to be the most expensive set of golf clubs, just like it doesn't have to be the best piece of software. It needs to be the right piece for you. We think of AI. Think of AI in golf. Is AI going to help us get around a golf course easier? Right now, probably not. So what AI might do in the future, though, is it might actually help us be better golfers. It could look at, by nanosecond, your golf swing, analyzing the most minute parts. It could look and work out you've got a dodgy knee, and it knows everything about your game. And it's worked out there's no point in telling you to do this because it's just not going to work. So it gives you super, super personalized advice. We might get that. Pros definitely will. And the pros who embrace it are going to be the pros that are going to get better. So that's what we're kind of talking about. AI is unlikely to replace us. And you might have heard this before. But the people who are using it and embracing it and taking it as a tool, they might replace you because they're going to be so much further ahead of you in terms of capability in being efficient. So talking of AI, no event is going to be without it right now. And I'm sorry if today you go away and all you can hear is AI. I was at an event a couple of months ago. It was a pricing event, and pricing is actually quite interesting. And it's all about the value, how they price the seat on a plane or a hotel room, a box of screws, a can of beans. So many different models. It's a very data-driven world. And Microsoft were keynoting. And I thought, okay, so Microsoft are keynoting. I'm at a pricing conference. They're going to pitch to us about AI, about how it's going to make pricing better. I don't need to buy pricing software, but I thought they're keynoting, I better go. So I went and watched Microsoft pitch their AI. I was blown away. They didn't actually talk about pricing. They talked about something completely different. They talked about something called Microsoft Copilot. And if you haven't heard of it, I'm going to show a little video. Because to me, this is what's coming. And this isn't coming in years. This is actually now almost coming in weeks. I think it's November this comes out. But this will give you an idea of the technology that's going to already be made available to you. Technology that doesn't matter if you're a procurement expert or a finance person, it's going to change how we operate. And so with that, let's have a look and see what Microsoft say. So that's AI. That's not replacing you. That is complementing everything you do. So we don't have to be petrified of what's coming. We can actually be excited. I love the idea that I could be here speaking, and my mailbox is going, and I can just ask, Copilot, bring me up to date with what's been going on whilst I've been away from my mailbox. Organize a meeting with so-and-so for tomorrow to talk about this, where it'll immediately go into kind of my OneDrive and things and pull out the pertinent files. That's what we've got coming. And we should embrace it, because it's not like we can ignore it. And so when we think of technology, and we think of technical advancements, it is good. I know which operating room I'd rather have a surgery in. Technology is changing what we do for the better. But as long as it's the right technology. Now, I can't emphasize that enough. This is not, again, just embracing technology. It's the right technology. But even in that, the human element is irreplaceable. And the best technology in the world is not going to compensate for your skills, your experience, your humanity, and those great personalities we're all going to experience later on, especially after a couple of drinks. And so my first takeaway from this opening session, I want to be the best version of me for my colleagues. So if I'm in finance and I'm supporting procurement, you deserve to have the best version of me. And the best version of me considers technology, doesn't adopt it blindly, but certainly is always looking to improve. My second key takeaway is the right tool for the job. Whether that's in golf, a cordless hammer drill, or software, it's about using the right tool for the job. Technology is just machines and systems, just tools. So don't be scared of it. The power really comes from you, the users, and your approach to lifelong learning, where sometimes you've got to unlearn to relearn a new approach. But that's really what's so important. We've got to keep learning because we don't want to become the dinosaurs. We want to be at the cutting edge. As I mentioned earlier, procurement have been through so much and evolved, and you want to continue that. So how do we continue that? Hopefully, the organizations you're working in, you have access to things like this, dashboards. But again, it's the right dashboards for you. You want to be able to look at a dashboard and immediately know what's going on. You shouldn't need to be a data scientist. You shouldn't be digging through things. The technology has existed for a while now. You shouldn't be having your mailboxes filled up with loads and loads of reports, probably from finance. You just want to be able to see what you need to make your decisions. So this is an example of some really inexpensive technology that can make your life easier. But you can have this, and it can still be wrong if it's not right for you. We then look at things like supplier management solutions. There's lots out there. As an example, Joe. There's Joe. So your software helps with supplier management. Yeah, and it's simple to use. That's good. Okay. I'm not going to promote Joe's product because it would be unfair on all the other software providers here. I think there's some amazing technology that we should all look at. And all I would say is, take the opportunity, even if you don't actually want to buy software, just learn about it. Just be inquisitive. Challenge us. Just go away a bit more informed. So when we think about the efficiency gains that are available to you, when I said that you could actually automate 60% of what you can do, thinking about you don't want to be spending time reporting or working through data. You don't want to be spending time in administrative tasks. You don't want to be spending time, for example, in the software we do, working out what's going on with rebates and things like that. Because every hour you're doing that, the technology-savvy version of you isn't. They're adding value instead. And so with that, I would say at this event, speak to your peers, the thought leaders, and the service providers, and challenge. Challenge them and go away more informed on what technology can or can't do for you. Don't be afraid of asking the silly questions. Ultimately, this event is about you. So use the people that are here. Really work the service providers. If you don't like something in my software, turn around and say, well, why does it do it that way? Surely that's wrong. There might be a reason, there might not, but you'll be more informed. Being self-aware and willing to adapt is what's going to set you up for the future. And so as I come to an end, I'll leave you with this. The upcoming sessions that you're going to face and the presentations, think of these as not discussions, but think of them as dialogues. Dialogues with how the future is going to look. And dialogues that are really going to, kind of shape the future for all of us. And so as you journey through them, don't just listen. Challenge, co-create, and really participate. And together, we can continue then to redefine procurement. It's already come a long way, but I think we all agree it's not going to stop. So let's pave the way for that more sustainable world, where I know in many cases you are the custodians of a greener future, where we look at the ethical side of things and make sure we're top of our game there. We're on top of the technology, and then most importantly, it is to our bosses, a profitable future as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Great way to start today. We don't have time for any questions, I'm afraid. But thank you very much, Mark. Thank you.